I'm just delighted by the stack of letters we've been getting from our listeners lately. I wish we had the time to read a lot of them on the air. They're wonderful. But since we've only a few minutes, we've got to select those that seem to be most representative of your problems or of most interest to our audience. All right, Ruth, what's our first letter for today?
This letter comes from a young man 20 years old who seems to have a problem communicating with his father. My father, he says, runs a very successful insurance company, and he's had his heart set on my joining the firm. I've just been graduated from college with a degree in business administration. However, I now realize that what I really would like to do is teach. So I'm going to stay on and go for my master's degree. I know I wouldn't enjoy business anyhow. How can I tell my father of my decision?
Now, there's no question in my mind that you've got to make up your own mind as far as your career goes. Heaven knows we fathers love our sons so much we often try to live their lives for them. And we're astounded when they show the slightest little bit of intelligence. But in the end, we want what's best for them. And no father, believe me, wants a namby-pamby son. How you tell your dad is something you can probably figure out for yourself. You know him better than I do. But I could only say this, your dad's a businessman. So I think he might appreciate a kind of ledger presentation, so to speak, of the pluses and minuses that influenced your decision.
We'll be back with another letter after this announcement. This letter, Norman, comes from a woman who's been married for 5 years. She says she and her husband are unable to have children of their own, and her husband refuses to accept the idea of adopting someone else's baby. I desperately want a child to love, she writes. How can I get my husband to change his mind?
Well, I think you've got to consider a number of factors in this delicate equation. And the first one has got to be the child. Unless a child is truly wanted and loved, a couple have no business, really, depriving that child of the love he could have from more loving foster parents. Tell you what, I suggest you try to persuade your husband to take an underprivileged child, maybe an orphan, into your home for an extended holiday. Then you yourself will be able to tell, I think, whether the idea of adoption would really work out. Well, Ruth, I see you have another letter, but I'm sorry it'll have to wait until next week. I sure hope you folks keep writing to me, care of this station. We'll answer as many of your questions as we possibly can on the air.